She entered the studio with a kind of grace that seemed almost cinematic. Flawless smile, poised stride, radiating a calm confidence. But that calm would shatter within minutes. By the time the segment ended, millions of viewers would be questioning who had truly lost control. On paper, it was supposed to be a straightforward morning interview. Meghan Markle, former Duchess of Sussex, actress, humanitarian, here to promote her latest philanthropic venture tied to a new wellness documentary. Unofficially, the producers knew there was potential for something else. Meghan had been living in the headlines. Netflix specials, royal controversies, persistent rumors about her marriage to Prince Harry. This was fertile ground for unpredictable television. Good Morning America studio was alive with its usual pre-show hum. Makeup artists rushing between chairs, production assistants whispering into headsets, the smell of fresh coffee drifting across the floor. Michael Strahan, the ever-composed host, sat in the green room reviewing his notes. He had interviewed presidents, movie stars, and sports legends. But Meghan's appearance carried a different kind of buzz, the kind that could shift from PR gold to live television disaster in seconds. Meghan arrived early, wearing a crisp ivory pantsuit that blended Hollywood chic with just enough royal polish. She greeted the crew warmly, complimented the flower arrangements, cracked a small joke with a producer. Outwardly, she was every bit the gracious guest. But behind the impeccable smile, there was an undercurrent, something unreadable in her eyes. At exactly 8:17 a.m., the red light above camera 3 blinked on. Good Morning America. Michael beamed into the lens. We have a very special guest today. Meghan Markle is here to talk about her new documentary and life beyond the spotlight. Meghan, welcome back to the show. Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure, she replied smoothly, voice even and rehearsed. For the first few minutes, it was all safe territory, motherhood, community initiatives, wellness advocacy. Meghan spoke with polish, weaving in words like authenticity, healing, and growth. But then Michael pivoted. You've worn many hats, he began. Actress, activist, member of the royal family. Looking back at your acting career, do you think it prepared you for the public scrutiny you later faced? Her expression didn't change immediately, but there was the slightest narrowing of her eyes. I think it's reductive to focus on my acting when there's so much more to who I am now, Michael. Of course, Michael said, nodding. But wouldn't you agree those earlier roles shaped how people perceive you today? Meghan let out a short, clip laugh. Perception is interesting. People tend to believe what they're told, especially by the media. The control room caught the shift instantly. One producer whispered into her headset, "Oh, here it comes." Michael stayed calm. Fair point. But I'd argue interviews like this give you a chance to speak directly to the public. Meghan's smile thinned. I suppose, if the questions are thoughtful. A silence stretched, just long enough for the audience at home to feel it. Michael pressed forward. There's been speculation, he said evenly, that your relationship with the press played a role in your decision to step back from royal duties. Looking back, is that fair? Her smile cracked. Meghan leaned back, crossing her legs. That's an oversimplification. I left because I wanted peace. I wanted my children to grow up where their mother isn't dissected on national television. Ironically, here I am again. And yet, Michael countered, you've remained in the public eye. Documentaries, podcasts, high-profile interviews. Some would say you stepped out of one spotlight and built another. Her eyes sharpened. Are you suggesting speaking on my own terms is equivalent to being hounded by tabloids? Not at all, Michael replied calmly. Just pointing out the transition wasn't exactly a retreat. I get to choose the narrative, she shot back. That's something you might not understand unless you've lived it. Michael's eyes didn't waver. I'd argue I understand public perception better than most. The tension between them was now a living thing in the room. The air had shifted. Michael tried a different angle. Do you think your upbringing or Hollywood background clashed with royal expectations? If you're asking if I was too American for the monarchy, Meghan said without hesitation, the answer is yes, and I wear that like a badge of honor. The audience tittered nervously. Michael's smile was polite, but his gaze stayed locked on her. Has that cultural clash affected your relationship with Prince Harry? My marriage, she said coldly, is not a topic for public entertainment. No disrespect, Michael said, but people are curious. You become icons of change, and part of that story is how you support each other. Icons, she echoed, almost bitterly. Or targets. The studio was silent. Michael continued, Some say you reshape public narratives. Others think you've blurred the line between privacy and publicity. And some, she cut in sharply, just like to hear themselves talk. The control room lit up. This was viral gold. Michael didn't flinch. I hope I'm asking what the audience cares about. And I hope, Meghan said, folded her arms. They care about mental health, education, equity, not whether my marriage is tabloid-worthy. The battle lines were drawn. Then Michael went for the grenade. The book deal, the docuseries, the Spotify contract. Were those about peace too? Meghan sat back in silence. Finally, I'm not here to justify my choices. I have a platform. I use it. And when you use it, Michael said, it comes with scrutiny. You don't get to opt out. Her jaw tightened. And who decided you get to lecture me about scrutiny? I'm not lecturing, Michael said evenly. I'm interviewing. Or at least I was. You've been dragging up every hit piece about me, she accused. I didn't write them, he said. But I read them, just like your audience does. Then you're their mouthpiece. No, but I'm not yours either. The silence was electric. You came here with your narrative plan, she said, eyes blazing. You wanted a viral clip. You don't care about my truth. And yet, he said quietly, you walked right into it. I thought you'd be different. Maybe you didn't do your homework. That was it. She pulled her blazer tight. We're done here. Michael leaned back. Your choice. She stood, removing her mic with deliberate slowness. Staying wouldn't make your questions any less shallow. Michael stayed seated, composed. Then he looked straight into the camera. Live TV, folks. Sometimes you get inspiration, sometimes confrontation, and sometimes someone just walks out because they didn't like the questions. By noon, the clip was everywhere. Millions were debating the same question. Had Michael gone too far, or had Meghan been too defensive for her own good?